Hi, I'm Phil Proctor, also better known as Rocky Rococo of Nick Danger Third Eye, a famous record of the Firesign Theatre. And why are we talking about this on Reggae TV? Stay tuned and find out. There are courses taught about the Firesign Theatre. There are books written about the Firesign Theatre. I was interviewed by a guy from Cornell University who is writing a book about the Firesign Theatre and teaching a course about the Firesign Theatre. There's a documentary in the process by a filmmaker named Luke Poling to tell the story of the Firesign Theatre. And because of the success of the Firesign Theatre, Proctor and Bergman had a wonderful built-in audience that would come and see what we were doing. The reason why we went out on the road, half the wits of the Firesign Theatre at that time, was that David and Phil, although they enjoyed touring, and we had some great times together touring, they wanted to get back into the studio and turn out more studio albums. And Peter and I felt that we really needed to get in touch with our audience and build our base by performing and introducing more people to what it was we were doing, which we did. And then the guys worked on an album called In the Next World You're On Your Own, which we came back and performed on. And I was on tour with Peter Bergman to promote this album, TV or Not TV, which it was kind of a predictive album about cable television and how it was going to take over the world, 1972, 73, something like that.
Oh, Bobby, TV or not TV?
And we toured as a cabaret act, and we put together an act based on material from the album. And one of our gigs was a place called Paul's Mall in Boston. It was a jazz club that had kind of a multi-purpose room downstairs where they do comedy and other odd acts. And while we were actually on the road, before we got to Paul's Mall, our manager told us we were going to be opening for the Wailers. And I thought, well, that's appropriate in Boston. It's, you know, an Irish singing group. Well ho, and there she blows, you know. And I thought that'll be fine, great. I love, you know, Irish music and all that. So we get there, and I notice it's spelled a little differently. And we get to the dressing room, and we walk in, and there's Bob Marley and all of his backup guys. It was their first American tour, and so far as I know, their first American performance, okay? And they're smoking ganja. The room it's like we're walking into a fog of ganja. And, hey man, how are you? And they're friendly as can be. And Bergman, of course, in his regular abrasive, arrogant manner, said, hey, can we have some ganja? And so Marley says, sure, man. And he brings out a bag from the Bank of Boston. It's like a cash bag for the Bank of Boston. And it's filled with ganja. And he reaches in and he goes, there you go, man. And he puts this big wad of ganja in Bergman's hand. So they're smoking spliffs rolled with in Wall Street Journal. Perfect. This has this banking kind of, you know, green fervor in it. And we hardly had to light up ourselves because we were, you know, talk about a contact high, you know. And so after we're getting into our pullover costumes. We wore these pullover tuxedos for our act. You know, it was pretty sophisticated looking act. Except imagine these are pullovers. And there's Proctor and Bergman, TV or Not TV, see? TV or Not TV, it's me. And anyway, we realized, because we had taken a look at the crowd out there, and it was their crowd. And so we said to Bob, we said, you know, Bob, your people are here to see you. And, you know, even though we're in black and white tuxes, we're still white boys, and we're doing this very highfalutin, crazy act. You should open for us. You have to go on first. You're the headliner, and then we'll, come on afterwards and entertain the crowd, whoever is left. And he said, sure. So, sure enough, they go out, stoned, they floated out, and they performed a dynamite set. Just incredible, wonderful set, and the crowd went crazy. So then, after a little break, Proctor and Bergman come out. And his audience had pretty well stayed. There were some people who knew us. Of course, our fans were following us. But it was also it was a Jamaican crowd. So we gamely proceeded with our act. And we were successful because we had shameless energy in those days. We were also stoned out of our minds. We were having a ball. The audience was happy. And it was a good show. But that was the kickoff for the Wailers' success, and we were there. And we knew that something very special was happening, And of course, it went on. We never had the opportunity to cross paths with them again. But it's one of those wonderful, obscure moments that happens, which, for a two-man act playing everywhere from really large concert hall venues to small clubs, 2 or 3 shows a night sometimes, was an amazing experience. A great honor.